Hi everyone, I'm Chrono Garuda, and today we're taking a look at the Transformers Cybertron Leader Class Optimus Prime, and I love this toy. Now, I absolutely love how this thing looks. It is just so intimidating look, and it's just a little goofy at the same time. It's just very toyetic, but that was pretty much the whole point of Transformers Cybertron. It's just a glorified toy commercial. And to be honest, the animation was somehow even worse than Beast Wars, which makes no sense because this came years later after that show. And I really like the mechanical detailing on these water hoses on the top here. And you can see there is some nice gold paint on this side. But unfortunately, the gold paint is completely gone on the other side. The wheels are also painted gold, and that really enhances the figure. But when you detach the cab from the trailer, the back wheels are completely unpainted, which is really a shame, but it's not really that noticeable when you have the trailer attached, and most of the time I have it with the trailer already. Now, as someone who does Gunpla and paints those figures, if I really wanted to, I could just apply some gold paint on those unpainted sections, but considering I had to pay $150 for this guy on eBay a while back, I would rather not do something like that. The one thing that always bugged me about this truck mode is that it has visible head syndrome. You can see the robot head right here. Really wish they had a way to cover that up somehow. And right at the front of the truck, you can pretty much see the hands for the robot mode. And I will give them credit for them being on the fold end a little bit more, so it's not too noticeable, but they still have this little gap in here, so that's a little distracting. The figure rolls really well, as all rolling things should. The water cannon and the ladders can rotate up that far, and they also have a very tight ratcheting swivel. And there's a spring-loaded mechanism right here to launch a missile from the water hose. On this side, there is an LED with some lights and electronics. As for accessories, you get this Cyber Planet key, which was something that every Transformers Cybertron figure came with. It came with at least one of these, and the whole gimmick behind it was that you can plug it in different parts of the figures, and it had little gimmicks that popped up. Using the Cyber Planet key on this side will trigger a pair of missile launchers to come out from the sides. And then using the key on the electronic side, you get a bit of an activation noise and this whole thing pops up. And when you push and hold the button that's right here, you get a charging up noise. And upon releasing the button, you get a loud explosion. And for a quick size comparison, here it is next to a modern leader class figure. Here it is next to the Titan's Return Power Masters Optimus Prime. Now, before I get this guy into robot mode, there is one other silly mode that I like to show you. And here we have the flight mode, because nothing says robots in the skies like a flying fire truck with laser cannons. This mode is so awesome that it is ridiculous. Really not much to say other than that. Now let's get this guy into robot mode. Here we have the robot mode. I just love how bulky the figure is, and he just looks like this really big guy that nobody would want to mess with. I just thought it looks really nice, and I also like how the chest here, you got the truck titties that you normally see in Optimus Prime figures, but instead there are the windows on the side that become the chest, and I think that's very clever engineering. I really like how the front of the truck become these big shoulder pads for the figure. I do like the head sculpt on this guy, but I'm not a fan of Optimus showing out his mouth. I just think this looks a little weird, but one thing that's really nice is that right here there's a little switch back here. When you pull the switch back, you get a really nice mouth plate which I think looks far better, but this is his default look in the show. The trailer that was detached earlier can actually become a little turret for Optimus to actually use. And I think that just looks really cool, but then a little bit awkward because he's just so tall and you have to bend him down for him to use it. But still, I just think that looks really nice, but it'll probably look better if I had smaller figures use this turret, which was seen in the show. And this piece can actually detach. It becomes a very nice blaster for Prime to use. And here's how it looks with Prime holding the gun. The chest can open up, and this piece can fold down, but it's kind of hard to get in there. But when you do, you get a matrix of leadership in there, which I think is really nice. The matrix can be removed, revealing some more mechanical detail inside. I just love how that looks. He can hold the matrix, but unfortunately, due to limited articulation, he can't hold it like how you'd expect, so he'd just be like, "Hey, I got the matrix!" And speaking of articulation, swivel at the head, your arms rotate a full 360, bend at the elbow, biceps swivel, arms can go out a little bit, hands can open up but the fingers are not individually articulated, no waist swivel, the leg can go back this far, lifting the skirt, the legs can do a nice kick, beautiful spread, bend at the knee, thigh swivel, little bend at the toe. Overall, the posability isn't the best, but for its time, it was pretty good, and as you can see, I was able to get it in this pose right here. Once again, for size comparisons, here we have the Leader Class Titans Return Optimus Prime, and as you can see, he's actually a little shorter, but this isn't in his full mode. In the Super mode, we get to see how big that is. Now let's get him transformed into that. Here we have the Super mode, and this guy is just really impressive. Got this massive set of wings here with those cannons, and it just makes him even bulkier than he was before, and this is easily one of my favorite designs for Optimus Prime. Now this guy is really top heavy, and unless you have him leaning against the wall like this, my recommendation is that you just bring the cannons down to just bring down the weight here to just make it a little more balanced, and there he'll be able to stand. The posability on this guy hasn't really changed when you combine like this. However, you can bring out the guns on the legs to add more firepower. And like before, you are able to use the Cyber Planet keys on both sides, but it doesn't really trigger anything new on them. And one last time, here's the size comparison with the Titans Return Power Master Optimus Prime, and now you can really see the size difference between the two figures. Overall, I think this is a very good figure, and I recommend this guy to anybody who's a fan of Transformers or Transformers Cybertron. And there also is a alternative to this guy in the, I believe, War for Cybertron Siege. They made an updated version of this figure. If you're interested, you can pick that guy up. And if you want this figure, your best bet is to go on eBay, and it's going to be really expensive, so please be aware of that. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification button. And until then, I'll see you guys next time. Peace!